excited to have you here, Kristen Alderson and Taylor Crusore. I'm starting over.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, Kristen Alderson and Taylor Crusore. I am so happy to have you guys here.
Thank you for having us.
Are
It's so
you
great to
kidding?
see you.
I
is
mean, it's
very
really
nice to
good to
see
see
you.
you. It's been forever and forever and forever and a day
It
since I've seen you.
has.
But
It
you don't look
has.
like a day. You haven't aged a day, which cracks me
Oh,
up.
thank you.
It's
Thank you.
true.
I
It's true.
have grown a bit, but
You
in a different.
have. I can't believe they can't really see that, which is such a shame because it's
I know.
so
Well, I'll stand up. It's
She has no
she's
shape
bit.
showing.
Oh my God. It's because it's the only place she's got any weight.
I know. When
Yeah.
she's turned around, if you're walking behind Kristen, doesn't look pregnant at all. Like, and
I
she's
can
9 months pregnant. Doesn't look
so
pregnant at all.
that's usually a boy. You know that.
I know, but it's a girl.
Yeah.
I know that. I saw
we got like. Yeah, I know. If it wasn't for the blood test, I'd be like, "Are we sure?"
because most boys, it looks like you swallowed a basketball.
Right.
And
that's
what
kind of what it is.
But it
Yeah.
looks like a bigger basketball than a boy.
True.
It's kind of got more of a shape as opposed like a basketball baby, like the boy baby is really, really like a big, hard, round, totally round thing.
Right. Yes.
And yours has a much prettier shape.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. It's true.
I've loved being pregnant. Like I can't complain. I've loved it. So
God, I was horrible. I was sick all the time.
How long were you sick for?
The whole time.
The whole time. That's like her mom.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Your mom was, yeah.
And Kristen was worried about that. I think that we've been talking about that a lot lately, how Kristen was like, she appreciated kind of some of other people's like horror stories because she went into the pregnancy thinking like, okay, well, my mom was like sick, almost had to be hospitalized at one point. You know, I've heard from other friends and other family members that this and this happened. So it was like getting all of that information. And then when something like that didn't happen, she was like, oh, I'm good. Like a relief.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you had to have a little morning sickness in the beginning.
Yes. I did. I had it until 17 weeks. So I was nauseous like every day.
That's a good long time.
Yeah, because the first trimester is over at 12 weeks, and that's when they're like, you won't feel nauseous after that. And I did. Yeah. I was still throwing up.
They lie. Why do they lie?
Why do they lie?
Your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just tell me the truth. You're going to be miserable. You can't eat anything. Exactly. I was going to drive through ice cream stores in Cleveland.
Oh my gosh. I have been eating a lot, and I've never been like a dessert sweets person, but I am like sweets.
It must be the girl thing. They knew me at it was Mentor Avenue Crunch was my favorite one.
Oh,
that was the ice cream flavor that I liked.
You'll never forget. But I don't have. Did you have any weird cravings? Like I never had a weird craving. Like I had orange juice, like orange popsicle.
There was a couple of weeks of just like it was orange anything.
Yeah,
I just wanted it.
But I must have been like needing some vitamin C or something. What I was thinking. Like, yeah, but like nothing like a pickle with something, like no weird cravings. Did you have that?
Yeah, but if my daughter, none.
Yeah,
I couldn't eat anything without getting sick. I had heartburn. I had to sleep, sitting up. I was 37 when I got pregnant, and or 38. Oh yeah. So I mean, I was much older than you.
Well, so. Kristen has really bad acid reflux when she's not pregnant, and it's completely gone away.
It went away with pregnancy.
That's bizarre.
I used to be like having to take medication every single day for it.
Me too.
And now it's just gone. Like I don't know
what. Never heard of that.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
It's bizarre.
That's why I'm saying like knock wood, but I've really loved being pregnant, and I'm kind of scared to not be pregnant because I'm like, oh god, my acne's gonna come back, like my skin's
her skin looks
skin like cleared up. Oh my god.
I'm like a better person pregnant than I am.
So we might be having a second real soon.
Yeah,
I would. They need a friend.
Yes, exactly.
Friend. Bella was 6 months old when I got pregnant with Abriana.
No way.
Yeah. So I had 2 in diapers. I was, nursing one, feeding, and I mean, it was really hard. So I had to get some help.
Yeah.
But I waited such a long time. Everything that I did after my career, I had put off till after my career. So I wanted it as much as I had ever wanted my career. and you know what that's like the most important thing in your life when that's what you want more than anything in the world. So by the time I wanted to get married and have children, I wanted it more than anything in the world. So when I had it, and I have a feeling you're going to be this way, you embrace the whole thing with such a tremendous amount of love and a huge amount of positivity and excitement and joy and gratitude, right?
And I think that that's when people should be getting pregnant. Like, you shouldn't be getting pregnant until you are ready. Like, we were ready. We wanted it. We both wanted it so badly. We're both always said we wanted kids, but like, it just felt like the right time. And I think timing is everything. And I mean, I'm 32. I'll be 33 in May. You're 33.
That's a perfect time. That's a perfect
time. So like, it just felt right, and like felt like the time, and we're so excited. And
now, when did you get married? Did you get married?
We didn't. We got engaged.
Okay.
Actually, he had the proposal all planned.
Well, the funny thing was, okay, so
hey, what's your excuse, pal?
Yeah. So the way this all panned out was, let's see, we found out you were pregnant last May, so May of 2023. We're in 24 now. Okay. Yeah. So I had a talk with her mom the year before in 2022.
So
we were just
so
talking.
Ready.
Oh, yes. Like this had already, we were talking one night and we were talking all about it. And I said that I wanted to do it on our anniversary
of our 2-year
anniversary. Our 2-year anniversary of dating.
Which is in July.
Which would have been July 18th.
Yeah.
Like that was like considered our first in-person date because we talked on the phone for so long, for like 2 months before we met up.
We'll tell you that story in a minute.
I want to hear that.
Yeah. So I had been planning this proposal for a while. Like it had been me and her mom like for months and months and months, like sneaking around Kristen. And if you know anything about Kristen, like keeping a secret from her is like, I'm so glad that we had an amazing engagement, an amazing time. It was like the most magical day, awesome ever. Yeah. But I would never want to do anything like that ever again. Like keeping a secret, even though I know it's for her.
God willing, you won't ever have to.
No, oh my gosh, secrets. It was like unbearable. Like she'd be like, "Why is your phone upside down?" Like, but you never keep your phone upside down. I'm like, who's
like
texting
a psychopath?
You? And I was like, "Nobody here. I'll flip it up." But like, you know, it was like things like that that I was like, "Oh my God,
why is his phone tilted away from me?" Right?
And then why are you going out of the room with my mother?
Right. So because we live in New York and then her mom would be in Philly, so it's like whenever I would go to walk our dog, usually that was then she would call her mom because I'm out walking the dog for 20 minutes. But that was also the only time I had a chance to call her mom to plan anything, right? So I'd be like, all right, honey, I'm walking out. I would instantly call Kathy and be like, hey, Kathy, I have like 2 minutes before Kristen calls you. Like, what do we need to do? Okay, the jeweler said this. Okay, and that's good. She's beeping. Okay, go. Take the phone call.
But it was funny because we started last year being like, my brother's getting married this September. So we knew that we like wanted to have a baby before their wedding, like this year coming up. So we're like, okay, we'll start trying. And my doctor was like, it could take 8 months to a year to get pregnant.
And it took our friends almost a year.
So it was like April. And I was like, Taylor, maybe we like start trying, or no, it was March. And I was like, maybe we start trying now. And he's like, sure, you know, if it takes 8 months. So he's figuring that'll be after their proposal.
Exactly. That was my thought process. I was like, we'll get engaged, then she'll get pregnant in the fall. Like, this is perfect.
Great.
Like,
literally second month. Like
it was like instant. Which I'm so grateful.
Thank
Everything
God.
happens when it's supposed to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
But so she was actually out in LA. She
filming
was
a
movie. And so she was away.
My first and only movie that I've ever done.
Awesome.
It hasn't come out yet. So
hopefully this year.
Yeah.
What's it gonna be called? I don't want to miss this.
It's called Man in the Guest House.
So
it was called Beware B&B and they changed the name.
So if you can't, it's about a man.
I like
in a guest house.
So
so she was out doing that, and I happened to just be back visiting my mom because my old choir teacher was retiring, and I kind of threw it to chance like, well, she's going away. You know what? Like, I have the time. Let me go back home, go to his big retirement celebration, spend a weekend with my mom. And her and I were on the phone.
It was my day off. I had just been filming for 5 days and I wasn't feeling that great. And I was like starting to kind of like spot, like, I was like, am I getting my period? Am I not? Went to the store, was like, let me load up on like medicine in case I'm getting sick, a pregnancy test just in case, and tampons just in case.
But also keep in mind,
and I'm like,
she's been buying the whole time. You've been buying pregnancy tests like I had been constantly. To where me and Kathy were like,
there's a sale at Costco. I'm getting a
box. Yeah. I was like, you have to stop buying pregnancy tests. She's like, I know, but I just like taking them. Like we were like, we spent like $100 on like pregnancy tests.
So I didn't tell anyone that I was sale. Right. Yeah. So I didn't tell anyone that I got a pregnancy test because I was like embarrassed. I'm like, they're going to be like, Kristen, another one. Like, don't take, you're wasting money. So I just got one, was still on the phone with him and his mom, took one like on a whim, didn't tell them about it, like did it, put it on the counter. Cause I'm like, I'm not pregnant, but I'll try it, whatever. And then I literally was like, and then I went.
And I thought the phone cut out. I just thought we lost connections. I'm like, Kristen.
And I just FaceTimed him. I didn't know what else to do.
So then I just hear.
And then I showed him the test and he was like, wait, what? Did you just took a pregnancy test? And I was like, wait, this isn't how I find out. This isn't how, like.
So it was literally me, her, and my mom. And just that I happened to be with my mom. I don't.
It was so great.
I can visit home like at least once or twice a year, but it was just so surreal that we all just kind of found out in that moment together.
And then you had to call your mom.
I was like, yes, I was like, I gotta go. I gotta call my mom.
I gotta call my mom. Your mom can't really know before my mom. We might not want to tell her this. I don't know. Watch this part.
Yeah.
I called her and I FaceTimed her and I showed her the test and she went, Kristen, you have COVID. I went, no.
No, like, Mom, this isn't COVID. Test. You're behind on your test skills.
Yes. And she's like, what? It was
and then awesome. Then we FaceTimed your brother.
Yeah, we did like a whole
FaceTime like my dad, and that like it was
Soap Opera Digest.
Kind of like early. Yeah.
Oh, you know how people are like they wait until 12, not us. We told
everyone. And that was in that moment, we just told our very immediate family that we just found out.
Of course.
And then we didn't say anything because even in all the engagement photos from the day we got engaged, like you weren't showing.
No,
but you're pregnant.
We didn't announce the pregnancy until I was week 20 because that's when our like major ultrasound was. And I just wanted to make sure that everything was really good. Like before I announced it to like the public. And also this summer, it felt like every single freaking celebrity was pregnant and announcing pregnancy. So I'm like, I'm just gonna be one of the. They're gonna be like, oh, another chick. Like,
you know what's really funny about that though? I don't remember that happening, but because it's you're like hypersensitive to all the other people that are announcing that they're pregnant.
Yeah,
right. That's what I heard. Like everyone's like, well, everyone seems like they're announcing pregnancies because you're about to, so you're just seeing it more.
That's right. I know. That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for you. Now, did you pick names?
We did. Her name is Kira Sky.
Yeah, we had her name. We had that name before we knew she was a boy or a girl. We had that name. We were watching a concert. One of our favorite bands was playing at Red Rocks, and they did like a live concert, and the lead singer was talking about his son Kieran. Now this was like last year, like before you were pregnant. And we were sitting on the couch. She's like, oh my gosh, Kieran, that's a cute name. And then she just goes, Kira. Oh my God, I love that for a girl name.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh my God, that is a cute name. Because we had talked about, like because we obviously talked about kids a lot, like well before then. And so we'd always float names around, just like, hey, what do you think of this name for a baby? And so Kira kind of stuck. And then
we did not have a boy name.
We never had a boy name, really. We kind of talked about it.
You could have gone with Kieran or Kira.
We could have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So how long have you been seeing each other?
Well, now it's over 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
How did you meet one another? This is called One Date to Love. So it's about it only takes one date. That's my show. That's what you're on.
Wow, that's it.
That is how it worked for us.
It really did.
Tell me about it. How did you meet each other?
Well, we first met each other. When did you start Wonderettes?
Oh.
So there's this show off Broadway, Marvelous Wonderettes, that Kristen was doing that she joined the cast of.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already.
Tom show?
Yeah, that Tom was doing.
Tom Dangora. Everybody needs to look at all of his shows. Everybody at home.
Yes.
Shout out to Tom Dangora's show.
So I had been working with Tom Dangora since 2014. I was doing a musical with him off Broadway. Yes, I did that for years and years and years. Kristen eventually joined the cast of that last couple of years. So I was doing that, and he brought in the Marvelous Wonderettes, which is this like female review show of like 50s and 60s songs. It's really cute about them at their high school. In their high school reunion. He brought Kristen in.
He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah. Tom's the best. Tom is the reason we're together, to be completely honest.
Yeah, because the reason we're together.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm like, how do I reach this girl? And I'm looking through Facebook because I mean, I don't know how to reach you anymore, right? And I'm like, I really want to talk to her. And so then I saw something with you and Tom together. So I texted Tom, and that's how I got your number.
Tom makes stuff happen.
He really does.
He does. Like, I mean, God, when I first met Tom, he was like, hi, we're going to be best friends and you're going to be in all my stuff. I was like, okay. Yeah. Like, he just kind of does that. And you really are.
He's a very special guy. And Michael, love him.
Yeah. Oh my God. His husband, Michael.
Tom and Michael Dangora, they're so freaking talented. But yeah, so we met we were doing, we were working in the same theater, doing different shows, and we had run into each other probably like 3-4 times, being like, hey, oh my God, how are you?
But I was dating someone else and she was dating someone else at the time.
Yeah. And Tom kept saying,
yeah,
you two would be perfect for each other. And we're like, we're in relationships. And he's like, yeah, I love that person, but you would be literally perfect for Taylor.
Did he really say that?
He said it all the time.
All the time.
I'm going to have him on now. We're going to have a conversation because because people at home need to know who he is, first of all. And he's a very special, very generous, very thinking about other people kind of guy.
He really is.
He is, and he has a very like intuitive thing about him where he just kind of knows. And yeah, but when someone tells you that and you don't really know the other person, you're like, okay, Tom, like, thanks, but
yeah. And for me, I was never like, I've never like cheated on anybody. I don't like when I'm with someone, I am very committed to that person.
Same.
But I will say, because he would say that so many times, and he'd be like, no, Taylor, you guys have so many the same interests. You're like the same person. Like, I cannot tell you how similar you are. You would be perfect together. That like after a while, like I'll never forget, there was one night where I knew that she was coming to watch Musical or something. Like I knew that she was in the audience, and it wasn't even like a thing like, oh, I'm nervous because like Kristen Alderson's in the audience and like I might be like, and I've seen her on TV or whatnot. I was nervous because, oh, here I am in a comedy trying to make people laugh, and my friend and producer has been telling me that me and this girl are perfect together, and now I might have thoughts in my head like, oh my God, like I need to be funny. Like I need to like at least still impress her. Like if he thinks we're so good together, like
nothing is worse for a comedic moment than thinking about it.
Oh my gosh,
right.
Yeah.
So being self-conscious about it is the worst possible thing. So now you're even worse. Now I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to think about it. I mean, it's awful.
I was so nervous knowing that she was in the audience. It was like
so then cut to the pandemic happens and he moved back to Indiana and New York became single. They broke up, and then I was single, and it was like the end of the pandemic. It was now 2021, but everything was opening up.
But we kind of knew. So, but we did talk a little bit. It was like
pandemic.
Yes, like it's like we were on Instagram. Like she would post something, and I would think it's funny, so I would just do like a little laugh emoji on it, like you would whenever you see someone post things. It wasn't like we were talking a lot, but there became this small inside joke though, because when she would maybe comment on one of my things, like, "Oh my God, that is funny," whatever. And then one time I meant to send like a smiley face emoji, but it sent the foot emoji of just the bottom of the foot.
No.
And then she was like, she sent a question mark, and I was like, what? I was like, oh my God, sorry. The foot was right next to the smiley face. So then we had this weird little inside joke where when we liked something of each other's, we sent the foot emoji.
So it's kind of like flirty, but
very like tame.
So then it was May. It was right after my birthday. And he had said like, happy birthday. I'm going to be moving back to New York. So, would love to go hang out sometime.
I wasn't moving back to New York yet. I just planted a seed because I was actually planning on moving out to LA because I'd been in New York for like almost 10 years. The pandemic happened. Maybe I need a big change. I saved up a bunch of money. That's why I went back and lived with my mom for a minute. So I was like, hey, I'll be back in New York. I'm moving out, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, right.
But if you're around, like, would love to see you. I just planted a seed of being like, if you're around, I never said like, hey, I'm single or something. I was like, if you're around, I would genuinely love to like see you.
But here's the thing. Like when I knew him before, was clean shaven, had short hair, like not really like my type, like a little like clean cut, like I don't know, like it just whatever. He then posted this video. He was at a wedding and he was like, "Hey, I'm here." He was in a suit, like in like a navy blue suit,
in like 8 months.
And he had this beard and the long hair, and I was like, "That's Taylor now." And I was like, "Whoa!" So then I was like, "Oh my god, I want to write him like, you look so handsome, like just to be not like that's not super flirty, right? Like a friend could say that." And I thought about it. I was like, "Is this inappropriate for me to text him?" Like, oh, I'm not like coming on to him. He said we could hang out in New York. I don't know. And then I was like, "You look so handsome."
And now I'm at a wedding where my best friend was getting married.
So I shot my shot, kind of.
I gotcha.
Instagram.
Yeah.
I was at a wedding where everyone was already married or in a relationship. I was the only single person there. So I went into this wedding knowing like, hey, I'm not having like a wedding crashers weekend or this or that, like as being like single in the last year. Like I'm going to go hang out with my friends and that's it.
Did you have to stand there and catch the garter all by yourself?
All by myself. So I'm sitting there at the reception. Wouldn't it be terrible? All right. Would everyone? That's you, Taylor, standing right here.
You're like, and Taylor.
And Taylor.
Got it.
Yeah.
So then I'm sitting at the reception.
Did they do the?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But they
everybody does it.
They did anyways, everyone's up and hanging out and I feel my phone buzz in my pocket and I look and it was a message from her that said, you look handsome.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here being like, oh my God, I'm at this wedding and everyone is with someone and I'm the only single person. And this girl that I think is like super cute just messaged me, you're handsome. So I spent most of the reception at the table just messaging her. I was like, why else would I?
Don't you have to go back to your wedding?
Yeah, I'm good.
And then we literally, and then long story short, we literally talked. We started sending, we like FaceTimed the next day.
She called me.
I called him and asked him to play
really
video
shot
game
her
with
shot.
me.
She was like, this was so wild. So like we had been messaging.
She totally took her shot, didn't she?
Oh yeah.
After the messaging and all that.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. They might not have the courage.
I mean, I would have. I was planting the seeds. I just didn't know like how she felt or was. Right. So basically we were messaging on Instagram and that whole next day and then after the wedding and she was like, hey, here's my number so we don't have to keep going back and forth on here. I was like, great. So the next day I'm like getting out of the shower and I hear my phone buzzing and I look and it says call Kristen Alderson and my heart was like, I was like, she's calling me. Like, oh my God, like we've just been texting. And I answer, I'm like, hey, what's up? Hi. Yeah. She's like, hey, I'm just driving back home right now. And like, you play video games, don't you? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, would you want to like play one tonight, like online? And I was like,
it's like she games.
Yeah. So immediately I like called my friend. I was like, oh my God, dude, she wants to play. Is this like a date? Like she wants to play a video game online tonight because we can't meet up. And so from that moment on, we just started sending each other like a funny picture of being like, oh, my life is so terrible right now, but it was us doing something nice and relaxing, right?
Yeah.
And then she would send one of those back. And then they turned into videos of, oh, my life is so awful.
When was it when you finally got together and lived in the same area?
It was like
2 months.
Month. Yeah, it was like a month and a half.
We talked constantly.
We counted because we're crazy people. We counted that we sent 800 videos to each other. So 400 like each back and forth. Like we would send videos all day long to each other. Like, hey, doing this, hey, doing that, just laughing.
It became this thing where like I'd wake up in the morning and the first thing I would do is I'd let my dog out. I'd go sit outside. I'd have like a cup of coffee and I would check the video I got from Kristen, like while I was asleep or something. And then I would reply. It just kind of became this new routine.
So
I'm familiar with that. I'm very familiar with that because I've been doing this online dating thing, which is the reason I started the show because it's been a real trip and I've got a lot of stories.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So I've been introducing the public to people that are getting along really well, that want to get married, that want to have babies, that are already married, they're happy together. And then how you met each other and how they could meet people and what my experience is, which I haven't talked about too much, but I will.
I want to hear.
And because my husband passed away, you know, and it was 3 years before I could even think about seeing anybody.
Oh, of course.
And it's just been a real completely different experience than it was before I got married, which was like 27 years ago. It's like a whole new. There's all this Instagram and all this videoing and all this stuff you're talking about, which is all this time with other people online before you meet them. It's just very, very strange. It's just not the way.
How did you and your husband meet? Your husband
I went the normal way. I went someplace. He was there, you know, except that I didn't put my best foot forward.
Oh, you did?
Because he was from Cleveland.
Oh, you didn't like Cleveland?
I didn't want to move to the freaking cold, man. No, thank you. We were in La Jolla.
I'm going to Cleveland this week. Yeah, it gets very cold.
I actually really loved it there. It was too cold, but I really loved the people there, and I loved.
So you ended up moving to Cleveland?
I did.
Wow.
And my children were born in Cleveland.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then
Robin Strasser currently lives in Cleveland and loves it.
Does she? That's so funny.
She loves it.
I had no idea. I wonder why she ended up in Cleveland. Does she have family there?
She doesn't. She initially went there for like personal reasons, but she was just going to stay there for a month. And then when she did, she loved it and she just kept staying there. She moved back to New York for a while and then was like, I want to go back to Cleveland, and is now back in Cleveland. She has a great circle of friends there, and she just loves it.
did too. I was very involved with. My husband was Mr. Cleveland. We had the best seats for the Browns game, the best seats for the Indians game. We sat we're on the floor for the Cavaliers game. We were there when LeBron came in. I got to watch LeBron. He almost fell on me because I was in like the second row on the floor.
Fun.
Ed was on the board of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. My stepson's bar mitzvah took over the entire Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, we just had a blast there. I did.
That's amazing.
I did theater there. I had a great time doing theater there.
Cool.
But we also got a place in New York, so I wouldn't feel like a Martian, because I did feel a little bit like a Martian. I'd been the LA, New York actress forever, and all of a sudden I'm in Cleveland. So, and then every day it snowed.
Right. Yeah. It's a snowy place.
It truly did snow. We got married December 20th. It snowed every freaking day. And I'd look out the window and I'd say, honey, it's snowing again. He goes, it's not snowing. That's just a little blurry. It must have fallen off a tree. I said, there's white stuff coming out of a sky. That's called snow. Where I So then we got a place in Florida, so we didn't have to be in the snow. He was very nice and generous and kind. And we had a place in New York too. So I didn't feel like a complete weirdo. And then we would come to Palm Springs, which I'd always come to for my vacation.
Love Palm Springs.
That's where I live now, in Palm Desert. So, and he had been coming out here for his vacations forever. So we ended up
look at that.
having so much in common. It was crazy.
Wow. And he did this guy in Cleveland that you almost didn't give a chance.
I know. I know. I really
that's great.
I didn't try hard. You know how when you put it out there, I really didn't do that. I was like,
Well, there's something too, I feel like, and that's what I get the sense from your marriage. It's like a lot of people will say like a relationship or a marriage is a lot of work. And I agree with that 100%. But when you've been in relationships that didn't end up working out, and then you're in one now that like fulfills you in every way, it's like there's plenty of work, but it doesn't feel like work, right? So in the sense of like, she genuinely makes me want to be a better person, like every day.
Yeah,
and so I have to work on that, but I'm happy to work on that. And I'm happy for her to call me out on my bullshit. And I'm happy for like in the moment, I might be like, are you kidding me? And then 10 minutes later, I come back to her. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry. Thank you for saying that. Like, you know, I've always been a big communicator. I grew up with a single mom. And so like, I just have that kind of relationship where I've always even like gravitated towards like, I had more female friends than male friends kind of like growing up too, because
you're a great communicator.
So I've just always learned like you really have to communicate how you're feeling in order to have any sort of a solid relationship.
Yeah. And also there's just something that like you either naturally have things in common or you don't. Like you can have things that aren't necessarily in common, but you have to want to go in the same direction, right? Like want the same things out of life, or have certain things that really do check off the boxes in order for it to work.
And I think we found that over the phone, though, that month and a half to 2 months. And that's why it was scary when we met up in person, because, and I'm sure you people experience this who are listening, and like you've been experiencing now doing online dating. It's like, oh my God, wow, I finally found someone in this vein that works. We're compatible, but I only know them in this 8-inch box
and like
this
my
little
phone
screen on my phone.
Yeah.
So even though Chris and I did know each other prior, like from the theater, from working at Theater Row, and because of Tom,
we didn't know each other physically. Like we fell for each other mentally, and we felt in love before we even met up in person. But then we're going, but what if he smells weird? What if we don't kiss right? What if like we don't have that chemistry? Like we could have
important. That's very important.
And
I'm sure like you've met people that you've talked to, and then you see them in person and you're like, oh
yeah. Kristen has a story when you were doing online dating that the guy was not anything that he looked like whatsoever.
Oh, we've all had that, honey.
We've
all had that. And it says they're 6'2". It says they're 6'2", and then they walk up to your car and they can barely look over the car at you, and you're like, hello, what happened to the 6'2" guy? Or they'll say they're 65. This is me. And I'm not 65 yet, but I'm willing to go with somebody that's 65. And then all of a sudden they'll say, well, I'm really 75. And you're like, dude,
you have to. Those are important things to let somebody know.
Trust, like to start off a relationship without trust is not a good sign.
But it was funny because when we first met up, we were at
oh my God, we were so 42. Nervous. A month and a half of talking, feeling like we're like, it for each other before even seeing each other, and then going, oh God, how is this gonna go?
I decided to move back to New York, kind of because like my landlord said that he would lower my rent, which I was surprised that he was going to lower it.
Are you
kidding? They don't even know how to say lower your rent.
No, I know. Anymore. And he said that, and then that's when Chris and I were talking. I was like, I have to go back to the East Coast. And that first date we met up, we went out to the pier on 42nd Street, and
we were nervous.
So nervous. I was like, I remember I was like, oh my God. My first thing I was like, she's so short. I was like, I know she's short, but I was like, oh my, she's so short.
She's
like,
so short. I was like, he kind of has a little bit of red in his hair. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she's like,
so like there were just as like it felt like we were with a stranger, like walking to the pier.
So well,
we were like, I know him so well, but he's a stranger. Like, kind of like, okay.
You're like, do I put my arm around you? Do I not?
Like it was.
We sat down, we were talking for a while, and then finally
that's
we
a first
both.
date thing. That's a first date. Yeah, it happens with everybody. And even though you had so much history, this was still a first date thing.
Yeah. Yes. There was a lot of nerves.
It's good for people to know that, like, it doesn't need to be like you like, oh my God, love at first sight, or like something where like this magical. We walked to the pier, literally shaking. Like we were both like, oh my God, stranger danger. This is so crazy. And then we sat on the bench, and then eventually it was like, we don't remember who said it.
One of us
said it.
We were just,
and we're like, we just need to kiss.
We were like, we gotta kiss, dude. We gotta get this out of the way.
Gotta see if this works or not.
All we were thinking about.
We just need to kiss.
We didn't want to put it off any longer, and we did.
Kissed, and it was like
instantly like relief.
Yippee!
Like, the kiss was
fireworks,
good.
Fireworks. Yeah, that's awesome. You gotta have it.
But then I will say what I did, because I've been feeling this way for a long time. The night ended, and we were making out.
You walked me to my car in the parking lot, and we sat in the backseat. We were making out in the backseat.
That's fabulous.
And that was
fabulous.
But that was also both of us knowing, like, I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere further than just us making out. I didn't want it to be.
Yeah, no, we weren't trying to get freaky.
No, but it was just like,
high school.
Yeah, exactly. It was very high school. Very high school. And I'd been feeling this way for a while. I've been feeling this way since we've been talking. Like, anytime we would get off of the phone when I was still living in Indiana, I would hang up the phone, and I would look at my dog, and I would be like, I love her. I was like, I am in love with this woman. I was like, I am fully in love with her, but I can't tell her that yet. This is way too early. But I was like, I think I truly love this person. So we're making out.
I have heard that from other people on my show, that they knew right away. And
I think especially men. I think especially like men just have an inkling, like, nope, this is my person, and
really,
like, they just know.
So we're just making out. We're making out. It's high school all over again, and out of nowhere, because it was how I felt. I just go, I love you. And she's the first date. This is the first date.
And my response, I like wasn't ready to say it back. Like I felt those things, but I was scared. Like I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't want to get my heart broken. And so he goes, I love you. And I go, will you be my boyfriend?
Like, okay, that was a good response.
Right? Yeah. Like I was like, let me get some commitment in there.
Yeah. And then we start laughing. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, and then I took a moment and I go, listen, I didn't want to say, I don't mean to say that to like make you uncomfortable. I was like, I apologize if that was a lot.
Oh God, now you're backpedaling all over.
No, I wasn't at all. But I go, listen, I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, but I just truly, genuinely, that is how I feel. So I hope it wasn't too much, but I can't take, I would say it again and again. Like, it's totally okay that you don't have to say that right now. I was like, I understand that, but I just want to let you know out the gun.
Just being careful. Listen, I'm running out of time here, unfortunately.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. We talk way too much.
No, you don't. This is exactly what I wanted. And I am so incredibly grateful that we got to share your love story with all these people that are dying to have one.
And long story short,
there's so many of us that are dying to have one. So you give everybody hope. You give everybody hope, and you give everybody something to shoot for, and a feeling to want, and to know that it exists. And it means a lot to me because I have known Kristen for about, I don't know, 25 years or so, or maybe 35 years. I mean, a really long time. I have to stop counting now because now a lot of things happened to me 40 years ago, and I still say 20 years ago, and then somebody will remind me that I was wrong about that.
But we're starting to hit that too. Where songs like they're saying like songs came 20 years ago, and we're like, huh? Like that's crazy.
Yeah, it's really crazy how far we go back. And you were
first of all, you're stunning, and you haven't aged like a day. Like you look amazing.
Well, you look better than ever. So how about them apples?
I'm so excited for this journey for you. So you're like still dating, like you're like on the apps. How many apps are you on?
I'm sort of on one in particular, but I probably belong to 2 or 3 that I don't check.
Well, I would love if we're invited, I would love to come back and I would like to dive into you more because we dove into us. I would like to get to know you more.
I hope I have something good to tell you. It's all I can say.
Oh, of course you do. What do you mean?
There's as long as there are stories, I always say do it for the story. Okay. It's like a date. Like
I've done my whole life.
Even if you're like, oh. Right. Like it's like, oh, how's it gonna be? Like how's this date gonna be? Just do it. Just go for the story.
All right. Well, if I have any questions, I'll call you because you seem to have it wrapped.
Oh, well.
We think.
I can't wait to hear more. And thank you so much for sharing this with me. And I can't wait to meet your Kira.
I know, so soon.
So soon. 2 weeks. 2 weeks from the due date. Crazy.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Thank you again so much for being here.
Thanks
I love you guys.
Us.
It's really
means a lot. Of course.
Thank
love
you, Taylor. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank
See
you.
y'all later, honey. God
bless.
Bye.
Bye.